So everyone's favorite director, Neil Marshall, has another film out. Yeah, Neil Marshall isn't loved. Every time this guy makes a movie, I feel like people shit on it. Whether it's The Reckoning or Doomsday or whatever. Ever since The Descent, this guy, he just can't seem to live up to that movie, and people really want to call him out for it. But I like his movies. You know, are they The Descent? No. You know, are they that quality? No, they're not. Even back to Dog Soldiers, right? Like, Neil Marshall had a thing going. He made Dog Soldiers, he made The Descent, and people were like, oh man, he's the next thing. You know, and then he made some other films that people just were not having. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I don't know. He's not really getting, and I get it. Like, okay, so The Lair. There is a fighter pilot, and she is shot down. Yes, it's the same girl from The Reckoning. From what I had heard, she's Neil's girlfriend, and this is becoming like a Sherry Moon zombie, Rob Zombie thing, because his next movie is written by him and her and starring her, right? So and this is like 3 films in a row now, I think, which is fine. I mean, if I made movies right now, Kaylee would be the star of all of them, okay? So I get it. You want to make a freaking film with your partner, if your partner's an actor, they're going to be in it. Deal with it.
I definitely, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Sure, I mean, freaking Tim Burton puts Helena Bonham Carter in every movie he's ever done since they were together. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I get it. You like her or you don't. That's really the deciding factor. So this girl's shot down, and she finds this bunker, which acts as the lair, and she has to be forced into there because there are, the what do I want to call these guys? I don't know. They're the enemy.
The enemy?
Yeah. Humans. Right? Yeah. They're at war. They're in Afghanistan, right? Isn't that what they say in the beginning?
I think so. They're in the Middle East.
I'm pretty sure they said Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. If I'm incorrect, correct me. But
I'm
something
not sure.
like that. So she's pushed back into this bunker. She goes down there. It's a Russian base. Mm-hmm. And she finds that there's been experiments going on. And some of these creatures get loose. Eventually all of them get loose. And she makes it back to her people. And then they have to fight off the incoming wave of these creatures. The creatures remind me of Lickers from the Resident Evil franchise. Mm-hmm. They remind me of the monsters in the Feast trilogy. Mm-hmm. They kind of have that feel to them. This movie does have some Descent features just because of the monsters underground kind of thing. And it also has a Dog Soldiers feel to it as well because it's soldiers versus monsters. So it kind of is hearkening back to his 2 original films. Overall, it's mostly an action movie with horror monster elements and stuff going on. But I will say this. The film is always moving. It's very fast-paced.
Very fast-paced.
The acting is rocky. It's very much a B movie. It's a B action movie with monsters, and I enjoyed myself.
Me too.
It's something I would never watch again.
No.
It's you know.
It's like I was saying to you though, like I feel like if I made the movie or if I was involved in it, like I'd be proud of the outcome. I feel like everything was accomplished pretty well. Like the story, like I think everything makes sense with the plot. I don't think any of the acting is like atrocious. Like it's not unwatchable, obviously. It's just there are times when you're like kind of doubting, the genuineness of the actor. And
sure.
I don't really hold any fault for that because I don't know, everybody's at different levels with their acting career and like how experienced they are and how much, whatever. It didn't bother me at all, really.
If you've grown up watching Dolph Lundgren movies or Chuck Norris movies or whatever the hell like I did growing up, these are B movies.
It's like standard B movies.
Yes. I mean, I grew up watching freaking Cyborg and, stuff like that where it's like, you're gonna tell me the acting in Cyborg is good? It ain't, right? It's just it's mindless because the film is generic in its premise. There's nothing unique or original about anything. The dialogue is forced and corny and cliche. There's so many one-liners that are like, oh, like, oh, come on. It's like all the obvious tropes, the archetypes, everything is on display here, has been done before and done better a ton of different times. That being said, it still managed to be entertaining. Now, I will say, we started a movie called like Skinamarkin or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce the title. We watched about 12 minutes of it, and it was just like really slow is an understatement. It's like this nothing experimental film of like filming the ceiling with like really bizarre lighting and then maybe a word of dialogue every few minutes that's just like a name. And when you read the plot synopsis, it's like, you know, two kids are left at home, you know, from their father, and when they start investigating the house, there's no windows or doors. Maybe because you're looking at the ceiling. There's no doors or windows on the ceiling.
We turned it off.
We did. The point being, I don't want to review that movie.
No.
What I want to do here is point out that we were watching the most boring movie I'd ever seen in my life. We fast forwarded 30, 40 minutes just to see, and it was like that. I did like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and every single time I stopped it, it was still doing the same shit where I was like filming a corner of the room. And I was like, are you guys serious with the movie? So we were really open to like being entertained. When we pressed play on this, it's like, oh my God, just do anything. And it starts off and it's like this cheap knockoff of Top Gun.
Oh my God.
Where they're like flying by.
They actually flew in.
Yeah. I'm like, did you think that they went and got their pilot's license and were up there with Tom Cruise? No. But dude, this has a super small budget. Yeah. For sure. And it's ambitious. It's got like fighter pilot scene in the beginning. They got this huge compound. They're doing these overhead aerial shots of like monsters running in, and they got like a Humvee, and they've got like 50 cal guns, and they got all this shit going on, and people are throwing grenades, and
there's
it's like a lot of action going on, right? There's a lot going on for a very small movie. I've watched a lot of B movies in my life, a lot of them, a lot of B action movies, something Kaylee has barely scratched the surface of. I grew up on that shit. As much as I love horror, I love it. B action movies just as much. I've watched so many of them. And so this is kind of my wheelhouse. When I'm watching this, I'm taken back to watching the good old days, you know, of like those second tier level B action stars. Not the Arnolds, not the Stallones, not the Van Dammes, none of that stuff. Well, Van Damme was maybe like maybe an A minus, a B plus, somewhere in that area, or probably a B. But it took me back to like watching some friggin' Dolph Lundgren movie or something, you know, not the ones where he was with Stallone, but the ones he did on his own. You know, you watch that shit, you're like, this is corny.
It was, I don't know, it was just really entertaining, and like, you know, fight sequences and like that takes a lot of coordination and everything. So I feel like I was in the moment. I was like engaged the entire movie. So we're like really, I don't know, I feel like we're talking longer about this than we did about Satan Slaves 2 Communion, and I definitely like Satan Slaves Communion better.
Oh, much better.
But this was a fun movie. It's like a one-time watch. Like, absolutely. If you like B action, mild horror films.
Yeah, if you want lower budget, B-rated action horror with some tropes, you know, you got like some hot babe with a freaking machine gun blowing away like zombie monsters. Yeah, that's a fun time.
Sure.
I had a good time. Characters, like all of them, like the colonel, or no, what was he, a captain or a general or whoever the hell that guy was? No, he was like no. What was
I don't
he?
know. I don't know what the ranks were because there was like American
captain.
soldiers and then there was like British ones.
Sure.
And
But the dude with the eye patch.
Yeah.
This guy had one of the weirdest accents. It was like this kind of like hicky southern accent, but it was like it had like an extra flavor to it that I couldn't figure out. We thought
theory,
that they're all English actors that are like
Doing-
trying to pretend to be Americans, and this is guy that's like a British actor that's trying to do like a southern drawl.
That's what
that
we
makes
thought.
sense.
And we were like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. And it would be weird if he was an actual American.
Like if he was born in the South.
Like if he was born.
That's a weird one.
It's odd, but
they don't
it's
sound anything
interesting
like it.
too because I feel like you said there's so many American actors that do like British accents or whatever
And
butcher them. So it's funny to hear an American accent done by somebody obviously who's not American because you just get so used to the way it sounds living here in America, although there are tons of sub accents depending on what region you are in.
Depends on the level of actor, right? Like Tom Holland from Spider-Man
oh my gosh, I can't
does
tell
an amazing
at all.
American accent. You can't tell at all.
Yeah, it does depend on the level, of course.
Sure.
But
anyways,
that was it.
so yeah, I mean, if you hate Neil Marshall's other movies, you'll probably hate this one.
Yeah.
If you like his other movies, like The Reckoning and Doomsday and whatnot, and you're into B action, and you're not expecting too much originality, and corny dialogue and is fine for you, and archetypes and all that stuff, check it out.
Yep.
That's that. We should have just said that. It would have been like a 40-second review. But we like to talk.
We do. I like the way your voice sounds.
I like to look at you.
I like looking at you.
Anyways, this isn't my daughter. It's my wife. Okay? My wife. Official.
Official. Yep.
And she's my daughter. JK. Bye.